27th, okay. 27th of July, 2015, and we're in Ellenwood, Kansas, visiting with Bob Robbins. He was a coach at Blue Rapids from, okay, now you can take over and start talking to the camera.
My first teaching semester was January of '52. I'd been a senior at K-State, and I was there actually in December as a referee, one of the referees for basketball. And the principal, whose name I can't remember, he passed away.
Thorpe.
Yes.
Is it Thorpe?
Yes, Thorpe. Principal Thorpe came to the dressing room to bring our checks and bid us farewell and so on, and he asked if I knew of any coach could possibly teach history and social science that was graduating at mid-semester at Kansas State. And I said, yes, sir, I know of one.
Hi there. How are you, ladies?
Just fine.
This is Gloria.
Uh-huh.
And he said that the coach there went in the FBI, and he was without a teacher and a coach at this time. You know, in those days, I don't know where it is now, but a coach at Blue Rapids coached everything. We just had the one coach, and didn't have an assistant. I had a lot of great kids to help, you know, in different things, but he said, well, I'll check with who I know at K-State, and you send me your credentials, and I should be letting you know in about 3 days. And because we had to get on with the teacher, you know, and soon the students would be coming in, and so I thought I was the luckiest guy in the world to land a job that way and meet the principal and so forth. And I found out that Marvin Shadd was there before, and he was in Ellenwood as our superintendent when I got here. So that didn't hurt anything either.
So he had been at Blue Rapids too? Shad had?
Dr. Shadd, yes.
Oh, wow, yeah, small world, yeah.
And anyway, we'll talk about Blue Rapids mainly because I have a lot of memories here to.
Good.
So was it Dallas Pittinger? It was a social science and coach.
Yes.
That you took his job then? He's the one that went on to FBI?
Right.
Okay.
Dallas Pittinger.
Pittinger, okay.
Anyway, he had done a good job in both areas of teaching and coaching, which didn't hurt me any when I took over. But I found the kids very receptive to new people coming in, and I think from K-State because it's fairly close, you know, and but they were very cooperative, I would say, and easy to get along with. They were, I could tell, from good parents and people who cared about their education and whatever they did. So that was a great experience for me to start at Blue Rapids.
Let's see. Oh, was the gymnasium, the new gym, was
No.
it had not been built yet?
No,
Okay.
I never coached a game in the new gymnasium.
So describe what the gym in the old school was like.
The old school gym was a small court with balconies at each end for the fans. And if you're not in a balcony, you need to be on the floor because there's no place else to sit. Because there were just walls.
Okay.
And so that was a new experience for me. I hadn't coached before, but I grew up in Virginia, and the gym has normal size, you know, as far as. Yeah. And but the guys were great, and I didn't coach the girls, so I couldn't speak for them, except in the classroom. They were very good people. I knew that from the beginning.
You're making this up as you go along.
Kind of. 60 years, what would you do?
So what was you played down on the fairgrounds for football?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And do you recall which direction the field went, north to south or east to west?
I thought east and west.
East and west, okay. So then the grandstands would have been on one side of you.
South.
South side, okay, so east and west, okay.
And we had a track that I think the community used a lot for their horses and whatever animals they had, because.
Isn't it a half-mile track? Or whatever?
Half-mile track. And so in coaching all the sports, you know, I saw all the scenes. I had to have a lot of people to help me clean the place up. The janitors had their hands full, of course, in the building they took care of and other duties, but they helped me some. But the kids were great, again, helping in any way they could, boys and girls. And of course, the girls wanted to be out there. That's where the boys were.
Sure.
So,
Well, and then that meant that your wife was home taking care of 3 little people.
3 little people.
Okay, so tell us about that story. Your oldest boy,
yeah.
what's his name?
Danny.
Danny.
Okay, he's a mascot of, at one point in this.
We saw that. I
Yeah,
had
so-
thought about that for so many years.
He's a so he was born in what year?
In 50.
50, okay.
July of 50, he turned 65 this July the 22nd.
Oh,
And the twins will be 64 November the 1st.
When we moved there, they were born in November and we moved to Blue Rapids in January.
Oh,
So I didn't get out a whole lot.
where did you live? What house?
Pardon?
Where did you live?
We lived in the Baptist parsonage.
Okay. And that's where you stayed the whole time you were in town?
can you see her?
Tell the ladies about your trip to the grocery store and your little pusher.
I walked, I had a twin stroller, and then I put a little blanket on the back of it, you know, where the handle came up, and I put Dan there. So I walked up in that little circle, like, you know, to go downtown in Blue Rapids, and a lady came out of the store and she said, "Ma'am, are all those babies yours?" I said, "Yes, they are."
Well, I married a coach too.
Did you?
Yes, and so I can identify totally with you of having, putting up with the many hours that and I mean, you guys are always such dedicated people. You coaches are. You love the thing, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna show, here's a picture of little Danny. Can we put this on there?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is it there? Cute little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's not in any of the other pictures, no.
No, I don't think so. And then the cheerleaders and stuff, in our hometown teams exhibit, Pat put pictures of all the cheerleaders up there too at Blue Rapids because they were such a vital part of the teams. Like you said, when the
Yes.
boys were there, the girls were always there, but they were, yeah.
And they had a lot of spirit, and very personable,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always treated as a teacher, and I appreciated that, and they were very cooperative in class,
Mm-hmm.
and Well, I learned from the kids. I was just pretty young myself.
Just
So-
what, 3, 4 years older is all? Yeah, it's the seniors, yeah.
Well, I'd been in service, I'd been overseas and stuff,
Oh.
and so, but I was still very young.
Do you remember any particular game or incident or accident or close score?
Well, you can tell by the scores in here that there, a lot of them were close. A number of them were close. I don't know what page it's on.
Who was your biggest rival?
Waterville, probably. Did that surprise you?
What page is it on?
Well, let's see, are you looking in the 50, I'm looking in 52, I should be in 54?
I'm in 53. I've got the book, but I don't have
Okay.
a page open. But the scores are in there someplace. But we had close games with a lot of schools. Washington was a bigger school as far as enrollment, and we managed to take them out on
Is
two.
Irving still there? I thought when they put the dam, am I correct
Yeah,
about that?
right.
So did you play Irving also?
Yes, we played Irving.
They
had
were great sports. and
basketball.
Very
wasn't
competitive
it?
and everything, yeah.
I remember one year Rob was at Irving, had a really good team, and you slowed the game down and beat them. And that next morning, we went to mass in Irving. And the priest there said, and I would like to meet the coach
Oh,
who beat Irving, who beat our team last night.
did you stand up?
Well, after mass, I think
Oh.
Rob said, Father, I'm the man who, which I thought was cute.
Yeah, exactly. So some technique that you used that helped the boys out then.
40 to 40, Blue Rapids was 43, Irving was 40.
Yeah.
That would.
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
a close
Oh,
one.
It was that close all the way.
Uh-huh,
They had a tall kid. Hull was his name, I think.
uh-huh.
And they had a line of those boys, I think. But this young man was a very good player. I don't know where he went, where he played after high school, but
Was it Bill Hull?
it kind of sounds like
Or
Bill.
Floyd or Lloyd that were twins.
I think they were younger, but I bet it was Bill. But
I think it was Bill, probably.
Mhm.
he didn't go on to school anywhere. Bill didn't. Yeah.
I know I had a lot of friends at K-State, that were in school with me for quite a while, and they got the news right away that I had beat Irving at Irving.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So the boys really played well, every one of them, and they wouldn't give up. And
So what kind of a stall ball game did you do?
well, we emphasized defense, and we didn't shoot until we had a position that we knew we were in and we could hit. And it took a while to get that, but Irvin was very good. And we shot our free throws real well. I don't think we hardly missed a free throw. And we took care of the ball, and Irvin got it when we missed. Occasionally they may have stolen it, some of those things happen, but generally we hogged the ball. And we knew we couldn't measure up to them with their speed and size and accuracy and so on. So we had to do what we did best, and we had to work at it ahead of time. So when we went to that game, we knew what we were playing them and how we had to play them. So
Because you'd played them earlier in the season, and it was Blue Rapids 31 and Irving 53
at home.
at home. And so you knew from that experience that you needed a different strategy to get to them. Yeah.
Well, since I was new and they were new, my boys were new to me, we had to learn each other's ways, you know,
Mhm.
and had to rub off a few things that we knew we could do together. And each player did his job the way we planned it.
Who was on the team
Very-
that year?
Very disciplined kids,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Okay, do you remember some of the kids that were on that team?
Rundus,
Daryl Rundus, okay.
Daryl Rundus.
He became a minister.
Oh, he did. Well, I can see that. He was a
Uh-huh.
great kid.
What was that, was there a baker boy?
Was Jerry Brake on that team?
Jerry Brake. Mhm.
Okay.
He lives in Beatrice now.
Does he?
I'm not sure what he does.
I think he's retired probably, but
Yeah. Miller,
No, oops, I don't see that, Miller. Well, there was a Fred and a Daryl Rundus. This is the 53 class, is that the one you want?
that's
Mm.
what
That's the year that
he
they
looked
beat.
at.
Okay. Billy Walters. And he would have been, is that the Waterville boy? No.
Mhm.
I didn't
Well,
have any
I-
Waterville. At
Oh.
that time, it was
It
all
was
Blue Rapids.
Oh, yeah. Bob Swartz,
Yep.
and he became a banker. Lives in Lawrence now.
Okay, his dad was a banker.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Dick Radford,
Yep.
I don't know.
He's deceased.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Dick.
Oh,
Oh, he's
yeah.
deceased?
Uh-huh.
Here's Miller. You said a Miller, Gene Miller?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
I don't,
I don't know, Gene, no.
Jerry McNary.
He was too young. He,
He
I don't
was-
think
Oh,
he
this
played
is-
much.
Okay, this is a class of 53 where you beat Irving. This is 54. Okay.
Jerry McNary, I always thought was good looking, and he aged nicely as well. He's just lost his wife in the last year, so, you know, these people that I knew are disappearing.
Yeah.
What
Now-
year did you graduate?
58,
50.
yeah. 54, we were just freshmen.
How about Lee Warders? Okay, here, this would be this is a 54 annual here.
Yeah.
So this would be,
Uh,
see, I get mixed
Your
up.
last year.
Dick Bradford.
We
Harold
did it in
Sutton.
the fall of
Harold Sutton, yeah, he'd probably be on the team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He still lives in Blue Rapids with Virginia, married Virginia Miller.
Okay.
She was a cheerleader.
50.
And Jean, Bill Walters, Gerald McNary, Leroy Nider,
No, don't remember him.
Lee Warders.
I remember Lee. He's been out here to visit us a time or two.
Oh,
Lee has.
would that be
Joe's
Joe's
brother.
brother? Okay. Jerry McKee.
Jeremy Key.
His dad
run the
grocery store,
Mhm.
yeah.
And he lives in Salina, or did live in Salina. Charles Kraft, or they call him Red. That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I don't know that he was on,
On the team.
I'm thinking of the first group that played, you know, your starters and your oldest players. He would have been like a sophomore, I think. So he probably didn't play that game that much.
Yeah, okay.
One of the years when you took a team from here to the state tournament, I thought it was Jerry McKee and his son came to the ball game in Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I had a team at the state in '57. We got second. Clay Center beat us.
This is the Ellenwood team.
Ellenwood
Okay.
And
team.
Jerry, I remember that Jerry came to that game.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Well, I
One
think
game,
those young
good
men
game.
thought a lot of you. I think they worked as hard as they could just because they liked you and you were young and enthusiastic. And I think the girls were all in love with you besides, so, you know.
And being fair too. You know, that makes a difference. When you're consistently fair to everyone too,
Well, I tried to
That's-
be.
Yes, and that makes a difference.
I hope that was a part of my nature, but
Yeah, well, I think your wife probably agrees with that.
I
Yes.
think I do.
Lee Hoyt,
Lee Hoyt,
uh-huh.
he was on that team, yeah.
And where does he live, Pat?
I don't know.
Okay. But he's the one that came, do you wanna put the, that's Lee, we'll put this on the picture, on the frame here. Lee Hoyt is on the left and Jerry Brake is on the right.
Yeah.
And you showed this to him already?
Him, but maybe his wife
Oh,
would like to
maybe.
see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then here's another one of the team. So maybe that's the
They
team.
don't look like my players.
I bet you don't look like that coach either. Interesting.
That
Yeah.
was out of the newspaper.
I see Jerry Brake and Jerry McKee both right here on this
Uh-huh,
side.
yeah.
Look at those. Let's see, Lee Waters. Don't tell these kids that I didn't mention them because they were all great and I knew every one of them real well.
Yeah.
Well, this is the annual here of 1954. This gives a different, you beat Irving again in this one, in this rundown. Let's see, where is that? Blue Rapids 68, Irving 44. This was out of the 54 annual
Yeah, I
Is
would
that
be.
basketball
And-
or football?
basketball.
Oh,
And then out of the 53 yearbook, that's where I read of Blue Rapids beating them 43 and Irving 40. So you beat them twice in your career.
Yeah, well,
This-
that one might have been coached by somebody else. See, in '54, I was in Ellenwood and coached.
So
No,
this
honey.
would have been, oh.
See, we didn't come here till the fall, so you were there all that winter of '54.
That's right.
Yeah,
right,
see, that's what
yeah.
confuses me
Mhm,
too about
mhm.
this. I thought I saw your picture in here, but,
I
yeah,
would-
I've seen I saw your picture in the yearbook of 54.
Okay.
So,
See, we would have left there before the yearbooks came out, because
that's why you
usually
don't
they
have.
came out in the
Yeah.
fall when the kids came back to
Mhm.
school.
And you were here at
we were
Ellenwood
already
in
here.
54, yeah.
Mhm.
But you coached that year too, so you beat Irving twice. We'll tell Floyd that, okay? In the Marshall County Tournament, where did they
We
hold that?
played at Marysville.
At Marysville, in their gym, okay. You beat Frankfurt by 1 point. Irving, they beat you by 10. And beat Vermilion by 1 point. And Axel by 19 points, so, in that tournament.
Mhm.
I bet we have those, some of the, trophies have come back too, and we have them on display in our community center, so some of these trophies I see in these pictures I recognize, so we're gonna have to pull those over to the museum.
and we have old football programs and other things that different people have donated to the museum. And since we're displaying our hometown sports, we've got all that stuff out on display right now. And people sit and sift through it and tell stories.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
nice.
that's a good thing about it. We're having a gathering of the Eagles, we were Eagles, in October. And they called me and said they wanted me to come to this for sure.
Mhm.
And another coach from Ellenwood, so I guess we're gonna be honored.
But what's the other coach's name?
Jack Bowman.
Jack Bowman.
So you finished your career, you really only worked at 2 schools,
Right.
Blue Rapids and Ellenwood.
Mhm.
So when the library had hometown teams exhibit here in Ellenwood, which was it's already gone. What did they do for their display for the hometown teams? Did you go up to see it?
I don't remember.
Something about sidelines. What was the name of that? I don't have that thing in front of me. Oh, here it is. Ellenwood had, they applied for the same thing that we applied for. And their partner site, and theirs was, Heroes on the Sidelines.
What year was that?
It was from January of this year till March.
Mm.
Okay,
This
we
year.
just missed that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in your, I guess your library is, in your school?
Yes.
Yeah. That's okay. So,
So it's probably not open today?
they've taken down the exhibit.
Really?
Well, it only went through
Right,
March
yeah.
15, yeah. So do you remember some of the, you went to the Catholic Church
Yes.
because the Irving was the only Catholic church
And Waterville.
in Waterville, okay.
So, see, with all those kids we had, it wasn't handy for both of us to go every time.
Okay,
So, sometimes I went to one mass in one town and I got home and Gloria went to the other one.
okay.
And sometimes I took Dan with me because he was so big. Right.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
took-
right.
I
Yeah.
took the kids to Irving once.
We took all three of them occasionally. But it was kind of a lot.
Yeah, that'd be an undertaking, yeah.
But see, then the Irving Church got moved to Blue Rapids because of Tuttle Creek. You knew that? Okay. We brought a Blue Rapids Centennial book too. You might enjoy looking at.
Does Blue Rapids have a Catholic church now then?
Yes, it's the
Okay.
Irving Church.
Okay.
And then Waterville joined the Blue Rapids one, so their congregation comes over to Blue Rapids.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
And they've
That's
redone
interesting.
that church,
Oh, it's
and
gorgeous.
it is truly gorgeous.
Oh,
It
wow.
is truly beautiful,
Yeah.
I
so.
wish we'd known that when we were there those years. We were there quite a few years ago one time
Oh, you were?
and
Okay.
visited. Our grandson played basketball for Western Illinois, and they were playing Nebraska. So we went to Nebraska to see him play. And then we stopped in Blue Rapids. on the way home.
Okay.
Visited with our neighbors down on the corner a little bit.
Who was that? What
Rob,
name?
what are their names? I've been trying to think of it all day.
I'm terrible when it comes,
I can't think what their names were.
he worked out at,
Georgia Pacific, probably, the plant.
he worked at the plant, yeah.
That doesn't
Gypsum.
narrow it down a
Yeah.
bit, 'cause
T.J. Brady. T.J. Brady.
Brady, yeah.
Neighbors to the Baptist, yeah.
Yeah.
T.J. and Laverne.
And, yes,
Laverne.
Because they've been here to see us quite a
Oh.
few years ago.
How neat, yeah. Very, very nice couple.
Because they had a nice family and they had a little girl near the same age as our three.
Okay.
So as they got a little older, they could play together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I got pretty well acquainted with her.
yeah,
they were a great family.
yeah, yeah.
Did you have friends among the faculty wives?
Probably.
You didn't have time.
I was pretty
If
busy.
you made it to church and took care of your kids, you didn't have time to get out and do
Keeps
very
you pretty
much.
busy. I didn't get out too much.
Yeah. Did you get to go to any of the games?
Oh, occasionally. When we first moved there, Mrs. Tharp, the superintendent's wife of all things, called one time and said she was coming and take care of my children so that I could go to the ball game.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice.
yeah.
What a nice person, a superintendent's wife. And then I think he died that next year
When he died while we were in
while we were there.
summer, well,
I thought he did.
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna show a picture of Coach on the annual, in here,
Okay.
okay? So can you zero in on that?
Right there, you bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
Did I have my eyes closed?
No.
No, and you got a wonderful smile,
Yes,
and your tie
still
is
do.
straight, and you would remember Mr. Brickta
Oh, yes.
that you taught with.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He was quite a teacher and
wow.
quite a gentleman, and never got married, and lived on his folks' farm.
Yep.
Saved his money, saved and invested his money, and when he passed away, he left,
K-State
100
much, wasn't it?
yes, K-State and Emporia, and also every organization and church in town got, I think it's 100,000 that they got.
Gee.
And our library has just added an expansion, and they used his money for the seed money, and it took more than that to do it, but anyway.
He was quite a guy.
Yes, everybody has stories about Mr. Brickta. In fact, we've had meetings of community people to come and just reminisce about him, talk about him, because everybody had a different individual story regarding him. And
Richard Dick Radford. What a guy. He was a great guy. Lee Waters.
his little brother was my husband's best friend. They went into the Navy together in '58. And subsequently, Bob was home on leave and got killed in a car accident. So,
Oh, my.
yeah.
How about Donald DeShazier? Don DeShazier.
Yes. Great kid. He was on the team the first year I was there in football.
53, okay. Mhm.
And,
He married a Winters girl, Eva Winters. She was one of the cheerleaders, I think. And since then, we've had connection with them. Well, he's passed away, but with the family. And they in turn have donated several things, and one of them is little metal football players that were made at Frankfurt. And we have the whole team of Bob Swartz and Don and all of them in different positions with their numbers on it. And so their family returned that to Blue Rapids Museum, so we have that on display.
oh, that's great.
But yeah, they've been donated quite a few things.